It is Monday, June 9th, 2025. Welcome to another edition of Baseball Today. Chris Rose gallivanting in Europe. So I am your host, Trevor Plouffe. Jolly Olive, the Dirty Martini, filling in for us today. Dan and Sawyer along for the ride as well. Jolly, you're a stud. You're always filling in when we need somebody. I appreciate it. How you doing, big guy? Nice sweep of the Rockies, by the way, for your Mets.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend of baseball for me as a Mets fan. We're going to talk all about that. I'm looking forward to the Michelin star dinner Chris Rose will owe me when he's back making bread overseas. But you know what? Not such a bad gig having to fill in to talk baseball. It's a sweet gig.
You and I, Chris Rose, owe a lot. No, we send our best to him. He's in high demand. He's a star. That's what happens when you're a star. People, start to take notice. But we do have a lot of ball to talk. And yes, great job by the Mets. We're not going to talk about the Mets at all this episode,
Oh,
Jolly.
snubbed.
Okay,
Snubbed.
is that okay with you?
Yeah, it's okay.
But as always, we're going to start with a tip of the cap, and this one is really near and dear to my heart. Our guy, Evan Longoria, he went back. He signed a one-day contract to retire as a member of the Rays. It kind of stinks he's doing it at the New York Yankees spring training stadium instead of at the Trop. But decent first pitch right here for my guy Longo. Are you like a Longo stan? Like, did he cross over in your time as a baseball fan?
Yeah, Longo was on the cover of like one of the first baseball video games I owned, MLB 2K10. So he was like one of my favorite players growing up. Everyone knows this, but everyone likes guys that play for the same team for like 10 years and set all the franchise records. And the 2011 Rays, one of the most fun teams ever, that late September comeback, he gets the big hit at the end. Like, he's an iconic player in my mind. Plus, he was the first baseball player I ever like talked to in person because he was at the Arizona Spring Training House, and that was like little old me with the goatee.
That's
Didn't
so
feel like I
funny.
belonged. He was super nice, made me feel welcome, made me feel like I could hang, and I love Longo, big fan.
He's awesome. I knew him from playing against them. Then I ended up getting traded to the Rays, and he didn't take me under his wing or anything. I was already, a veteran at that point. But we developed a nice friendship. We talk all the time. He loves ball, dude.
Hell yeah.
He's always in our comment section. He's always texting me about things that we say on these shows. So he's watching over us to make sure we're not messing up. But shout out Longo, statue guy, like a literal statue guy
Yeah, I think
outside
so.
the Trop. That's amazing. But let's get the show started, Jolly, because it was an interesting weekend of baseball. We're going to start out in the NL East. There's a couple of disappointing series for a couple of these teams. The Phillies end up getting swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates. They outscored the Phillies 19-6 across 3 games. Pittsburgh has a great pitching staff, but that Phillies offense is not going right now. And then also talking about the NL East, the Braves. This is a great segment for you. How about that? The Braves get swept by the Giants. 3 one-run games right there. The Braves have been really bad in those games. They've dropped 7 in a row. It is not looking good for them right now in not even just the NL East, but the playoff scenario, even to the point where we almost called them dead on talking baseball. So my question to you, Jolly, you saw the 2 sweeps this weekend. Which team were you more disappointed in? Was it the Braves or the Phillies?
I was definitely more disappointed in the Phillies because we're still like in the softer part of their schedule. They had just beat the Pirates on their home turf, so I thought it was a little surprising to see them kind of just get walked all over in Pittsburgh. And you mentioned that, the Pittsburgh pitching staff is a pretty good one. It's a bad combination. The Phillies offense, the way you beat them is you get them to chase out of the zone. They face 3 of the best chase pitchers with the nastiest stuff on the Pirates staff. But also, like, Trev, you look up and down this Phillies roster statistically right now, and it's just they're not banging. Like, Max Kepler has really slowed down. Bryson Stott has not been the guy so far. Alec Bohm has had a really tough year through and through. But even the guys they usually rely on, JT Realmuto, OPS plus of 80 on the year. I know they've been dealing with injuries and stuff, but when I think Phillies, I think banging the ball around. And really, they've been known as a starting pitching staff so far this year. They've one of the better rotations in baseball, but that's not how they're going to win baseball games and claim the division again. It's going to be through hitting home runs and slugging the ball, and they're just really not doing it right now. And that got put on full display this weekend.
So I agree that it was a tough showing for the Phillies, but I do think that you just have to give credit to the Pirates pitching staff here. And the Phillies, look, I know they haven't been playing great ball as of late, but I still think that they'll figure it out. The Braves are the more disappointing team to me.
Mm.
Shout out the Giants for, I believe they have 8 walk-off wins in 24 home games.
It's the
Or,
most in baseball, yeah.
excuse me, 32 home games, 8 walk-off wins at home. So I guess you can only have walk-offs at home. Attaboy Trev, talking ball
Nice.
right there.
Analytics.
But the Braves, now I think they're a little bit more. Whereas I think the Phillies have a good roster and they've just been underachieving. I think the Braves roster, we for a long time just gave them credit for having this top to down full, lineup of guys that can bang the ball. If you look at what they're throwing out there right now, it's not that. So whether that is on the front office for not reinforcing their depth enough, like they basically have their bench playing too many games right now. Like
Yeah.
Nick Allen is a great bench infielder. Eli White, a great bench outfielder. Those guys are getting a ton of at bats right now, and they aren't producing. They also have some regulars that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Ozzy Albies, Mike Harris needs to get it going, but they have not been able to find their footing at all. I believe they're 14 games back in the division right now.
They are, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think the Braves, it goes back to their offseason, man. I mean, I don't know what the
yeah.
situation was with the front office, what the funding was, but even in their bullpen, like they didn't replace Joe Jimenez, they didn't replace AJ Minter, they released Griffin Canning, they released Ramon Laureano. I mean, all those guys are having good seasons right now. And Minter, of course, got hurt for the Mets, but the biggest thing was they let Max Fried walk and they didn't do anything to replace him either. It's just a lot of the guys that you think of when you think of recent Braves success aren't here. And the guys that are filling those voids, like you mentioned, don't really feel like starting caliber players, especially with the standard set so high with the Braves year in and year out. And then on top of that, their guys, besides Ozuna and Olsen, really haven't been doing it much either. So it's just a bad combination. I also think, and you can't really put a number on this, I do think that the Braves coaching staff misses Ron Washington, misses Eric Young Sr. Like, I think those guys are really important of like, the day in and day out, like holding guys accountable and making sure everyone stays sharp. Like I saw Ozzy Albies make a really bad error in San Francisco that he would have
Yep.
never made 2 years ago. I think it's just little things like that. And I think it's, I blame this Braves season more on the front office more than anything else, because this is a Braves team that I always think of as very talented and well-rounded. And the product on the field right now just does not look that way.
Yeah, I think they had a chance to maybe even go get a shortstop in the offseason. Instead, they relied on Arcia and Nick Allen. I don't think that to me screams Atlanta Braves. Runners in scoring position, they've been bad pretty much all season. I think they have I have it up right here actually, a 247 batting average with runners in scoring position, 16th in the big league. So they're not hitting well enough to not also hit with runners in scoring position, if that makes sense. So to me, they're close to dead, Jolly. I know you don't want to say it because that's scary for a Mets fan to say, but I'm almost
I
there.
will only believe it because the Mets and the Braves play, I think, like 6 times in the next 2 weeks. I'll believe it after those series if the Braves don't magically get right against the New York Mets, which they always do.
All right, let's move on from banging on the Braves a little bit and let's go to a couple dark horse MVP candidates. I don't know if you saw your guy Pete Alonso and what he did over the weekend, but he's been on fire to start June. He has 6 homers this month that leads the league. His plate discipline has been really, really good. He also passed David Wright for second place all-time home run hitters. He's only 9 behind Darryl Strawberry for first in franchise history. He is telling them, you better pay up. I love that for him. So a great start for Pete. And then in the American League, we know what Cal Raleigh's been doing. As for a catcher, especially, my goodness, he leads the big leagues in homers. He's got 26. That's 3 ahead of Ohtani, 4 ahead of Judge. My question to you, between those two guys, who do you think has the better chance of winning an MVP this year?
If you'll allow me to be biased, I do think it's Pete Alonso, but part of that is because of Aaron Judge. Like last year, we kind of did the same thing with the 2 young shortstops of like, well, how much more impressive is it that Gunnar and Bobby are doing these things offensively while playing shortstop? That kind of gets applied to Cal with catcher. I just think Judge is going to run away with it if he keeps at this pace. But with Pete, the NL feels a little bit more open. Like you have Kyle Tucker, PCA is doing really special things too. But if Pete continues on this trend, he's going to get like 150 RBI this year. And I mean, the month by month has been really good. It's really the plate discipline, like you mentioned before. He's gotten on base over 450 in both April and June this year, and that's just not really what you think of when you think of Pete Alonso. You think of slugging the ball and hunting for one pitch and finding it. Athletic article recently came out yesterday that said Pete, for the first time in his career, is using outside sources to help get info on pitchers, get info on what his approach should be, which, if you're a Mets fan, might be concerning with hitting coach stuff, but also is good no matter what because Pete is producing on the field. And their plan of getting guys on in front of Pete Alonso, like Juan Soto, seems to be working out really well. 61 RBI through about 60 games.
So I agree with you. I'm going to go with Cal Raleigh on this one, and I think it more has to do. I do think catcher plays into this big time. I mean, he's having one of the best offensive seasons ever for a catcher, and he really is only competing right now, I'd say, with Aaron Judge. Bobby Witt is still there because his overall game is just absolutely incredible, but the offensive stats aren't. I mean, they're in line with his career average, but like they're not super eye popping right now with Bobby Witt. So if Judge were to, have and I don't want to say this, knock on wood, Yankees fans, if he were to have like an IL stint, I think Cal Raleigh would kind of vault into that first place with the MVP. For Pete, I think he does have to jump a few people. I think Shohei's there. So even if Shohei, didn't pitch or maybe he went on the IL, you mentioned the guys. There's still Pete Crow Armstrong, who doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. So I think there's more competition in the National League. Whereas if Cal continues to do what he does, and then there's a short IL stint for Judge, I think there's a chance that Cal could pass him. So my honest answer, which Chris Rose hates when I do this, is neither of these guys are going to win the MVP. It's going to be Judge and Ohtani again. And like, you can hate that as a baseball fan, or you can embrace the fact that we're seeing two like all-time players like in our generation. Like, I think
I'll appreciate it more like 5 years from now.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Right now, I'm like, I want my
You don't
guy.
like it?
No, of course not. I don't want the same guy to win every year. But when you look at, like, I'm sure people felt that way about Bonds in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
but
Bonds, Pujols, like, yeah, there's.
But during it, you're like, this is annoying. I want to see like.
Oh, I like it. I like it. I hope Shohei comes back, and I'm very curious to see how they use him because they do need some pitching. But I'm going Cal. You're going Pete. That's why this show's the best. And who would have thought Jolly Olive picking a Met for a question?
Oh, okay.
This episode, Jolly, is brought to us by Hall of Fame Bets. Are you tired of throwing money at parlays you just have a feeling about? We've all been one leg away from hitting a massive parlay, but a strikeout, an unexpected bucket, or a Hail Mary pass comes in to ruin it. With the Hall of Fame app, that could be a thing of the past because we're using historical data, matchup grades, leg correlation tools, and player performance insights. Once you've built your parlay, you can send it straight to your sportsbook with one click. On top of that, Hall of Fame isn't just about parlays. It's built for player props, game lines, and more, giving you the tools to break down trends, spot value, and make smarter bets across every major market. And for our listeners, for a limited time only, you'll get a 7-day free trial, but then also get 50% off your first month when you use the code TODAY at checkout. So just download the Hall of Fame app on iOS or Android, enter code TODAY, and you're all set. And we'll move on now to our third question of the day. And we're going to be talking about the Boston Red Sox. They took 2 or 3 from the Yankees. Dan, what's up, dog? You were not here. Crap in the first inning last night. Everyone was.
So weird.
Former Yankees prospect Carlos Narvaez had a big homer off Carlos Rodon, 3-run shot in the top of the 6th. But it was another prospect, actual prospect, for the Red Sox that really shined. Roman Anthony, a 497-foot. Was this a walk-off grand slam or just a grand slam? Whatever it was, that thing is absolutely smushed. We know that all the talk is about the Red Sox and, is this guy going to come up? So I guess my question to you, Jolly, is how much more do you think the Red Sox need to see from this guy before we get a little shakeup of the big league roster?
I mean, the answer is none. Like, he should have been up like 2 weeks ago. I don't really know what's happening with that situation. I know it's a logjam of a lot of guys that play the same position and they can't find room for everyone, but like, find a way. Like, talent is talent, dude. Just get the best players on your big league roster and let the manager figure everything out. Like, I know it's easier said than done, but I hate to Metsify everything I say, but 2 years ago, the Mets had 40-year-old Robinson Cano on their roster who was owed $30 million for the next 3 years, and he wasn't producing, so the team cut him so that they could make room for talented players. I think Trevor Story, maybe there's something still in there for another team. Maybe he needs a change of scenery, but like there's a spot in that lineup that is not producing. I know he had a nice weekend series in the Bronx, but like you got to see what you have because whatever's happening right now with this roster is not currently working. They're 32 and 35, fourth place in the AL East. I know this is not the conversation we thought we'd be having considering they just won a big series over the weekend, but they need to be playing better. And there's a guy in AAA raking who can very clearly help this team right now. He should have been called up yesterday.
Yeah, a couple of those guys were like, I guess, quote unquote, on the hot seat for the Red Sox, whether it's Christian Campbell, whether it's Trevor Story. They both had big series in the Bronx, which is like, hey, man, look at me. Look what I can do, coach. Yeah, I think they have to figure out a way to get this done. Although, Jolly, I don't think this like solves their problems as a team.
No.
So great. You have this, you call it a log jam. I call it depth. You have some good players. That's
what
a
was
good
your
thing
your
to
talking
have.
baseball quote? I think it was like a couple months ago. You were talking about the Dodgers. It's like we should just call that depth, and I was like, that's good.
They got depth. It's okay to have players on your bench that are good. Like that's what you want, dude. Like not everyone's going to be a starter, and sometimes that sucks for that guy because he's not getting the playing time, and arbitration happens, and all these things. But like, they need to make a decision. This guy, obviously, if you're talking about best 26 players in your organization on your big league roster, he's one of them. I think this is like a no-brainer. Figure it out. And I think the way you do it is, yeah, if you want to release Trevor Story or try to trade him and eat a bunch of money, I guess. But I think they should really be actively shopping somebody on the team, another one of those outfielders, and they need to try to get pitchers. Everyone thinks Jarren Duran's getting traded. I don't think he's getting traded because that's
I don't think so either.
You'd have to give up a lot to get him. Like Boston should ask for a lot. The guy just put up a 9 more freaking season. There's how many players in the big leagues do you think have the capability to put up a 9 more season?
Maybe 10.
Right?
Yeah.
He did it. So you can't just give that guy away.
And I don't know. The other thing is, why would you trade him now then when he's down from his production?
Well, he's hitting 7. He's got like the OPS is getting better. Like he's
right, but from the optics of it, you're selling low, right? So
and then I love Willie Abreu. I think would be a bad trade for them as well. I think he'd go somewhere else and it'd be a bad look. But like they have to figure something out because they need starting pitching. Like that's the name of the game here for the Red Sox. So I don't think this changed everything. To answer my own question, they don't need anything. They don't need to see anything else from this guy. Like he should be on the roster. They just have to figure it out. And you know what? Front office, earn your freaking money. Oh my gosh, it's a tough situation for us to be in. I don't know what to do. This is why you get paid millions of dollars, Craig Breslow.
Figure it out. Like the question is not if, it should be how do they get this move done?
Pitchers, man. Where did Craig Breslow go to school? Is he a Harvard guy? Princeton?
Right? He's like I think he's Stanford.
No, he's Ivy League for sure.
Yale.
Yeah, Yale. Look, bro.
You know
where I went to school? Crespi Carmelite High School. And even I know this guy needs to be in the big leagues. Former teammate of mine, Craig Breslow, I believe. Yeah.
He had a nice 12-year career.
Yeah. Shout out. I'm not talking crap. I'm just saying, like, hey, let's
Craig Breslow on the 2008 Twins was nice. Make those numbers up.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Another former Twin prospect. Christian Encarnacion Strand had a huge weekend. Comes back for the first series of his of this season for him. Hits a homer to tie the game for the Reds against the D-backs. There was a rain delay, so that happened like 18 hours after the beginning of the game. He has a walk-off that same game. He has another great game. They go on to sweep the Diamondbacks, right? The Reds, you never know, man. You want to believe in them. You want to believe in Matt McClain coming back and having a good last game there to get back in the swing of things. And Encarnacion Strand and all the guys they have. And I think, are they 500?
The Reds? I think so.
Are they right at 500?
Yeah, they're 33 and 33, baby. We're back.
I want to believe in the Reds. But this question is not about the Reds, okay? Even though they beat the Snakes, they swept them, outscored them 21-6. It was confirmed unfortunately, on Friday that Corbin Burns will have to undergo Tommy John surgery. So he'll miss the rest of this season, most of all of next season, if not all of that as well. So where do the Diamondbacks go from here is the question. And I'm just going to phrase it like this. I'm going to ask you a player's name, and it's just yes or no. Are they going to be a Diamondback at the end of the season, Charlie? Okay.
Okay.
Josh Naylor.
No.
Merrill Kelly.
Yes.
Zach Gallen.
Yes.
Eugenio Suarez.
No.
You and I are in lockstep. I agree.
Okay.
I think that the reason that I'm going to give, I want to hear your reason, I guess. Naylor and Eugenio, I don't know if you offer those guys the qualifying offer at the end of the year.
That's kind of where I'm at too.
But Kelly and Gallen, you offer the qualifying offer at the end of the year. So I think that's where I stand on all this. And man, I believe the Snakes are 3 or 4 games under 500 right now, and they'd have to jump a bunch of teams to get back. Oh, they're 3 games, a bunch of teams to get back in the race. I think it's time to start considering your future and trading some of these guys and getting some value.
Yeah, I mean, with the 3 wildcard spots, there's always a chance. I mean, they're only 6 games back, plenty of season left, so a lot of things can change. They just swept the Braves like in really emphatic fashion with that late comeback. But I don't know, man. Like, there's an article to be written or research to be done on the Diamondbacks and the Rangers since that 2023 World Series, because what a weird pair of year and a halves for both of those franchises. I mean, these Diamondbacks are still banging, and part of the reason why I answered the way I did is like there's a world where they trade Geno and Naylor and keep their pitching and maybe still compete because they find offense and they still have guys in their pipeline waiting for an opportunity. But their history of starting pitcher contracts is rough, dude. I mean, Jordan Montgomery, Eduardo Rodriguez, now Corbin Burns. I mean, you can go back even further and pull examples there. I mean, it's tough.
Madison Bumgarner.
Madison Bumgarner is another one. I mean, Zach Greinke was up and down, but they definitely didn't get the best years of him. Like, they're cursed. I don't know what it is. I thought Corbin Burns was like a home run signing for them, and here he is getting hurt. I mean, he's been a symbol of health for the past 5 years. 32 starts, 33, 28 the past 4 years. He comes to Arizona, Tommy John surgery. I don't know what it is, man. I feel for Arizona fans right now. This team is incredibly talented, and I think if a couple things just clicked with their rotation and bullpen, they have a lot more wins right now. Like a ton of blown leads early in the season. Like they should be so much better than 31 and 34. But with an injury like this to a guy you just invested so much money in, the writing is a little bit on the wall with Kelly and Gallen set to walk. Like you kind of need to reset and adapt and preserve your future, which they've done in the past to great success. It sucks because I viewed them as like a powerhouse in the National League this year, which maybe they still can be, but I think the writing's a little bit on the wall.
Let's go Reds.
Okay.
Let's get it going.
I'm not letting the Reds fool me again. I'm sorry.
I think I am.
That's fine.
Here's the crazy thing. They're 4.5 games out of the wild card. They're 500, and for some reason, I'm like, yeah, man. Like, they can get it going. The Diamondbacks are only a game and a half back of them, and like, Diamondbacks are dead.
The vibe is so different because like they don't have a lot of guys ready to walk. Like they're all young. Like,
it is so different. The Reds do have a plus 38 run differential. Diamondbacks minus 18. Now, I don't really like that stat unless it supports my narrative, which it did.
Braves are plus 3.
Ooh,
which is crazy. 27
the plus that 3. One did not support my narrative. All right, we got a couple more to go, but Jolly, I need to read about BetterHelp. The show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Men today face immense pressure to perform, to provide, and keep it all together. Don't I know that? So it's no wonder that 6 million men in the U.S. suffer from depression every year, and it's often undiagnosed. It's okay to struggle. Real strength comes from opening up about what you're carrying and doing something about it so you can be at your best for yourself and everyone else in your life. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally, and it's convenient too. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners You get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/baseball today. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball today. All right, y'all. Question 5.
Mm.
We're talking Tigers Cubs. The Tigers took 2 or 3 from the Cubs in the matchup of the two best teams in baseball, record wise. Although I think the Mets are there now too with the sweep. Love that for them. On Friday, Tarek Skubal dazzled with 7 and 2/3 innings, allowing just 1 run while striking out 6 and walking none. On Sunday, my guy Jack Flaherty delivered 6 scoreless innings, giving up just 2 hits and striking out 9 in a 4-0 win. Skubal's been incredible. He's got 105 strikeouts and just 7 walks on the season, which is nuts. And he ranks among the AL leaders with a 2.16 ERA and a .82 WHIP. Skubal's in line to repeat his AL Cy Young. I have him in the Cy Young draft for us. That's great. Meanwhile, in the AL Cy Young race, Hunter Brown of the Astros is the runner-up. Brown helped Houston take 2 or 3 from the Guardians this week and reinforcing the Astros as a major AL West force. Sorry, Mariners fans. My goodness. So the question, and I don't know about this question. I'm still going to throw it out there.
Okay.
How far behind are the Astros from being serious contenders to unseat the Tigers as the best team in the AL?
I think the question should more be, can the Tigers keep it up to be the best team in the American League?
Oh, you're on that side of it. I've had
on
that conversation, and Tigers fans do not like it.
And like, I get it. If if your team's an upstart and you're a passionate fan, you're gonna come at us, and I totally get it. The thing with the Tigers that worries me is just they're very young, and like, they've only started winning recently, and like, I'm sure you know this as a player, like it feel the air in the clubhouse is different when there's like expectations and things like that, and I think there are expectations for the Tigers to continue this role they're on because they are one of the more talented teams in the American League, where even with different personnel, the vibe in the Astros clubhouse has always been the same. The standard has always been high, even through new managers and new captains, new faces of the franchise, new aces like Hunter Brown. That, if I'm a betting man and I'm betting what team do I think has the better record at the end, I still kind of feel like it's the Astros just because of the inevitability factor, because of the names I recognize on that roster. But at the same time, not going to doubt the talent of the Tigers bullpen. Their rotation was on full display this weekend as well. It's an interesting question, but I want to see where you land too.
I'm a believer in the Astros. I understand, what they've done in this sport. I've had them as inevitable as well. I don't think I have the same feeling about them this year. Now, they've played well without a lot of their guys in that lineup doing anything. And it does seem like the Tigers were seeing the best version of them. I mean, Kerry Carpenter's throwing guys out at the plate. He's raking. They finally got healthy. I think it's a much better chance the Tigers keep that up than the Houston Astros go on some crazy run, unless we see a historic Jordan come back. I do not get the same feeling from the Astros as I've had in years past. Now, I did get that feeling about them in the West catching the Mariners. And maybe that has a little bit of history to it there. But I do think right now, if I'm just taking stock of what's happening in the American League, the Tigers have the best recipe. They have the best blueprint to win games. I mean, the starting pitching can be absolutely a buzzsaw, but if it's not, the bullpen can come in and put the fire out at any given notice. That keeps you in every single game. And look, they've been incredible offensively this year. What are they in runs scored? I think that's the one me and Jake keep talking about. I think they're 4th in runs scored, which is pretty good stat right there. You can talk about, is Torkelson going to keep it up? They're 5th in runs scored. If you're 5th in runs scored and you have the best pitching in baseball, that's a good recipe.
Do you want to guess what the Astros are in runs scored?
Ooh. 8th.
20th.
Oh man, I was gonna say lower than that, but I thought you were trying to trick me.
So that the other side of this, and this is fake talking head BS, but I just have to assume that the ceiling is higher for the Astros offense. Like, you look at Jordan's numbers, he's been dealing with injury, 82 OPS plus. Christian Walker has a 73. Jose Altuve's under 100. That these guys are capable of better, and the fact that they're getting carried by Jeremy Pena, who's having MVP conversation season right now. The Isak Paredes experiment is working beautifully for them. Then also Jake Myers out of nowhere is having like a really nice season at the bottom of their lineup. If you get your three guys plus Yiner Diaz, who I didn't mention, to start going, suddenly the Astros lineup becomes very, very scary. They have the bullpen that goes toe to toe with the Tigers in my mind. The rotation is definitely lacking, but I just think that conversation gets a lot more interesting when the faces of the Astros lineup are playing like you expect them to.
I need to see that.
Yeah,
I need
absolutely. That's fair.
put Jose Altuve back at freaking second base.
Yeah, enough.
Christian Walker, let's freaking go. Like, do what you got to do, big fella. And yeah, if Jordan is back, I probably will feel a lot different about the Astros, and that would be an incredible playoff series. Astros.
Yeah, the rematch, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
Give me a full
Astros
5-game set though. No
and
wild
Tigers
card.
would be awesome to see.
Yeah.
Framber versus Scoobs will be just
Hey,
the quickest game of all time in the postseason history.
we just mentioned the Diamondbacks with signing starting pitchers. Do the Astros have something with signing first baseman? Is that happening? Jose Abreu, Christian Walker.
Don't talk about John Singleton like that.
That's my guy. Mets AAA raking right now. Hope he
Don't
gets
do
called
that.
up.
Yeah, he is in Syracuse, isn't he?
Yeah, he's crushing the ball.
Wait, is Syracuse Mets or is it Nationals?
Syracuse is Mets.
Did it go away for a while? Maybe when I was playing, it
Yeah.
was Nationals.
When you were playing the Mets AAA, it was Las Vegas, if you can believe that.
Now the Nationals are in Rochester.
Yep, the Red
where
Wings.
I played Twins St. Paul, which used to be a independent league team. Fantastic stuff, Jolly. That's going to do it for the show today. And as we mentioned, shout out George Kirby, 14Ks. Great. Jacob Wilson, keep raking, brother. Love that for you. We got a lot of ball to talk this week. Chris Rose not going to be here, so there's going to be a bevy of guests. I believe tomorrow is Shelfie. I think Swilly's going to make an appearance. Jimmy, Jake. Maybe we'll get Dalton on this show.
All hands on deck. Jeez.
Yeah, it's going to be an all hands on deck. I'll be the host. I'm going to take the reins and just step up like I always do. I am the new dad of John Boy Media. So, comment what you want us to talk about. If we missed anything, let us know. We love hearing your feedback. Hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a ton. Send Jolly Olive some love on social media. His glow up has just been incredible. From the time he met Evan Longoria to now, what a change.
Check out that goatee. Someone should have told me.
Don't you have a goatee now?
No, I have a beard. Trev, end the show.
I'm not really sure. So, for Jolly Olive, for Dan Rourke, for Sawyer, I am Trevor Plouffe. Thanks for joining us on Baseball Today. We will see you mañana.